WD8TIM.
WDH, give me the rest.
Yeah, okay, sir. Whiskey Delta 8, Tango, India, Mexico.
Tango, India, Mexico. And the name, please?
The name is Tim, Tango, India, Mexico.
Roger, roger. What's your location, sir?
I'm in Cleveland, Ohio.
Roger, and you're doing a KW?
No, a KW, no. I'm doing 100 watts right now.
All right. You have a very good, it must be a resonant antenna system.
Actually, yes, it's really close. I had to touch the auto tuner in the radio, but I'm not running the amp right now. I'm just straight into the antenna. It's it's an off-center fed dipole about 35 feet on the apex, and like I said, 100 watts going right now.
Roger, just a beautiful signal. Now, I would recommend running the compressor at about a 3. It's something that nobody will ever hear, but it's the beginning of the fattening process. What I think is ideal is about a 3 dB dynamic range, and you would get that by running that compressor at about a 3, and then bringing up your ALC and adjusting your mic level to where your ALC meter was running mid-scale to 2/3. Those two combinations will give you a 3 dB dynamic range with an average percent of peak modulation between 80 and 85%.
Okay, real good. Yeah, I'm looking at my compression right now. By the way, the microphone's a Heil 781. And the rig is a ICOM 7610. I do have the compression at 4 right now. I am getting close to the top end of the ALC. You're telling me to drop it down a little?
I would drop the compressor down to a 3. That's a token amount, but it does exactly what it should do. Roger?
Roger. Okay, there's a 3. Was there any difference there, sir?
Well, it depends on when we come out at the end. You're watching your ALC?
Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the high notes, it's coming up towards the top.
Roger. Now, I would crank in just a couple of dB more top-end EQ. Just a little more brightness to your signal, if that would be possible. +2 from where you are on your top-end EQ.
Okay, let's see. I can do that right now, and actually it's +3. Let's see, treble. Let's bring it up to a +4. There's a +4. Does that sound any different?
Yes, sir. Now, I also, that 7610 is a beautiful radio, and if you go to, have you ever adjusted your peak? Go to quick and come up with, I think it's called drive. Go to the quick button on your radio and find drive.
Okay, yeah, I can only access it while I'm talking. Tell me what to do from there.
All right, in drive, adjust your drive level. You should be around 50 at the moment. Take that up to about 65.
Okay, there's 65. Testing 1, 2. How does that sound?
All right, tell me again about something that you like best about your radio.
Well, I picked up a 7300 last year, and then fell in love with the SDR radio and the waterfall and the display on it, the color display. And we decided to pick up the 7610 since we fell in love with the SDR. And the waterfall, of course, is a very nice feature along with the band scope. It's a sexy looking rig there.
Roger, Bob. Conditions kind of shifted down there a little bit. But anyway, on that drive, I like it. What it does, it allows you, actually, if you were to continue on with that drive level, more of it, what it does is establish the dynamic range that you would like as far as your modulation ratio. I think 65 is about max in my taste, that you don't really hear it working, but it does substantially increase your average peak modulation. So I would recommend just a 65, but if you get a chance, check out the audio. We are recording now, and if you were to go to YouTube in the next couple of days, it usually takes us a couple of days to get the audio posted. But if you went to YouTube and did a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that would take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and on that page you'd be looking for a Qso entitled My Group Air Check 112219. My Group Air Check 112219. Roger?
Roger, I think you said your name was Jim. Okay, yeah, we'll definitely do that. I really appreciate it. Hopefully it sounds a bit better. It looks like it actually has a little bit better drive power to it. So I think you actually helped me out quite a bit there.
Well, that's your radio, and taking advantage of the possibilities of that 7610. 7610 is the only radio, I think, in the world that has a drive control that just lets you set your audio exactly where you want it. It's just unbelievable. Just FYI, that drive, if you were to continue to advance that drive up to its maximum capabilities, your dynamic range would be reduced to half a dB. Now, what that means is, I'm looking at your audio on a VU meter, and if you had that drive cranked all the way up, instead of my VU meter bouncing around, my VU meter would be just moving between 0 level and minus a half a dB. It would just sit there and look like a plate voltmeter. Roger?
Wow. Now that drive, although I never read up on it, is that a power driver, or is that all strictly audio?
That's audio. I mean, but indirectly, it's RF, because the audio controls the RF.
Right. But it's not actually increasing the drive in the PA. It does by audio. I understand that, but okay, real good. I got a little bit better understanding on that feature also. Thank you very much, Jim.
Roger. It is a dynamic ratio cruncher. In other words, what we just did, we moved you up dynamically from, say, I think you were initially about a 6 dB dynamic range. We moved you up, I think, to about a 3 dB dynamic range, which is what I prefer. But if you continued on with that drive, see, you could take it on up to half a dB. So it just crunches the dynamic ratio, Roger.
Roger. I really appreciate it. It looks like it's actually responding a little bit better with the dynamic microphone instead of a condenser on it. I really don't like them, but I really appreciate the help on this. Roger.
Now, so we'll see the electric microphone, the same thing as what is the condenser microphone. Electret is the little brother to it, but they share similar characteristics as far as top end of the audio curve, much more defined than a dynamic microphone. Probably on a given day, a condenser microphone or electret microphone would have maybe 10 dB more output at 10 kc than a dynamic microphone. So consequently, when you switch, say, from a dynamic microphone to a condenser microphone, you have to probably pull down the top end. When you go inversely from a condenser microphone to a dynamic, you have to increase the top end EQ to try to get the same brightness out of the dynamic that you had out of the condenser microphone. Roger?
Roger, QSL. I really appreciate all this info. It's really kind of you to to do this, and I won't hold the frequency up anymore. I will say 7-3 to you, and I will be looking forward to listening to the recording and seeing how this radio sounds. Jim, I'm going to wish you a 73, and we'll be listening out here. WD8TIM, Cleveland, Ohio.
Roger, Tim. Three's that way, sir. Just a beautiful sound there. I think we've created perfection there, but you be the judge when you listen back. So threes to you now, and have a great weekend. This is KC9VKV and the Qso-Vlog network, 9 till 5 we're recording, and then we'll post it up on YouTube. So if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.